Nick and Lee. Tune in. Tune in. Screens lit up the dawn, or the book alive. Candles flicker green and red in the fight. Nick calls the numbers, Lee reads the pace. Every tick a clue, every move a chase. Hold that breath, watch it swing. One more push, one more ring. The room goes wide, the chat blows up. Nick and Lee, don't let up.
The Moonshot Dispatch. The Moonshot Dispatch.
Nick and Lee on blast. Nick and Lee on blast. We ride the spikes, we chase the spark. The Moonshot Dispatch.
Right from the start.
Whales make waves again, but stack then fade. Sharp little fake outs cut through the trade. Lee says, look there, Nick says, now here. Fresh on the tape and the signal's clear. Hold that breath, watch it swing. One more push, one more ring. The room goes wide, the chat blows up. Nick and Lee, don't let up.
The Moonshot Dispatch. The Moonshot Dispatch.
Nick and Lee on blast. Nick and Lee on blast. We ride the spikes, we chase the spark. The Moonshot Dispatch.
Right from the start.
Wait for the turn, there it goes. Pulse in the chat, head to toes. Higher, higher, lock that view. Nick and Lee, pull us through.
The Moonshot Dispatch. The Moonshot Dispatch.
Nick and Lee on blast. Nick and Lee on blast. We ride the spikes, we chase the spark. The Moonshot Dispatch.
Right from the start.
Login camera hot, chat scroll, screens light up. Nick on the mic like watch this. Lead with the chart, not luck. Candles move like wild tides. Green prints, then they snap red. We read the room in real time. Every tick got a new thread. Hold up, hear that room go loud. One more swing up, we can taste that cloud. Hands on the wheel now, eyes on the feed. If the line keeps climbing, that's the news we need.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Run it live, run it back.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Nick and Lee on the track.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
See it rise, see it snap.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Chat goes wild like that. Fresh alert, new candle volume, hit whole screen shakes. One more push through the room or one more move for the brave. Nick says, no, don't blink now. Lee says, check that wall. We got the crowd on standby, waiting on the next call. Every game got a heartbeat, every dip got the grin. If the market wants fireworks, we'll be first ones in. Hold up, hear that room go loud. One more swing up, we can taste that cloud. Hands on the wheel now, eyes on the feed. If the line keeps climbing, that's the news we need.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Run it live, run it back.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Nick and Lee on the track.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
See it rise, see it snap.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Chat goes wild it clean and sharp. When the crowd gets hungry, we light that spark. Nick says stay locked in, Lee says stay awake. If the moon comes calling, we don't hesitate.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Run it live, run it back.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Nick and Lee on the track.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
See it rise, see it snap.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Track goes wild like
The
that.
Moonshot Dispatch.
We don't miss, we don't crash.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Catch the wave, then dash.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Nick and Lee.
Tune in. Tune in. Screens lit up at dawn, or the book alive. Candles flicker green, red in a fight. Nick calls the numbers, Lee reads the pace. Every tick a clue, every move a chase. Hold that breath, watch it swing. One more push, one more ring. The room goes wide, the chat blows up. Nick and Lee, don't let up. The Moonshot Dispatch. The Moonshot Dispatch. Nick and Lee on blast. Nick and Lee on blast. We ride the spikes. We chase the spark. The Moonshot Dispatch. That's right from the start. Whales make waves again, bid stack, then fade. Sharp little fake outs cut through the trade. Lee says, look there. Nick says, now here. Fresh on the tape and the signal's clear. Hold that breath, watch it swing. One more push, one more ring. The room goes wide, the chat blows up. Nick and Lee, don't let up. The Moonshot Dispatch. The Moonshot Dispatch. Nick and Lee on blast. Nick and Lee on blast. We ride the spikes. We chase the spark. The Moonshot Dispatch. Right from the start. Wait for the turn. There it goes. Pulse in the chat. Head to toes. Higher. Lock that view. Nick and Lee.
Pull us through.
The Moonshot Dispatch. The Moonshot Dispatch. Nick and Lee on blast. Nick and Lee on blast. We ride the spikes. We chase the spark. The Moonshot Dispatch. Right from the start.
Logging camera high, chat scroll, screens light up. Nick on the mic like watch this. Lee with the chart not look. Candles move like wild tides. Green prints, then they snap red. We read the room in real time. Every tick got a new thread. Hold up. Hear that room go loud. One more swing up, we can taste that cloud. Hands on the wheel now, eyes on the feed. If the line keeps climbing, that's the news we need.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Run it live, run it back.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Nick and Lee on the track.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
See it rise, see it snap.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Track go wild like that. Fresh alert, new candle. Volume hit, whole screen shakes. One more push through the rumor, one more move for the break. Nick says, don't make now. Lee says, check that wall. We got the crowd on standby, waiting on the next call. Every game got a heartbeat, every dip got a grin. If the market wants fireworks, we'll be first ones in. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Hear that room go loud. One more swing up, we can taste that cloud. Hands on the wheel now, eyes on the feet. If the line keeps climbing, that's the news we need.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Run it live, run it back.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Look at Lee on the track.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
See it rise, see it snap.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Track goes wild like that. When the dust gets thick, we keep it clean and sharp. When the crowd gets hungry, we like that spark. Nick says, stay locked in. Lee says, stay away. If the moon comes calling, we don't hesitate.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Run it live, run it back.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Look at Lee on the track.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
See it rise, see it snap.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Chat goes wild like that.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
We don't miss, we don't crash.
The Moonshot Dispatch.
Catch the wave, then dash.
Lee and Nick with the moonshot flow. Dispatch live, let the market glow. Crypto vibes where the numbers show. To the moon we go, let the podcast blow. Digital coins, we dissect them quick. Blazing insights, Lee and Nick. Price prediction sharper than a sword. Macro games, we break the board. The Moonshot Dispatch, hear it loud. Crypto news making waves in the crowd. Stack your sats, let the market react. Stay ahead as we plan and enact. Volatility flips, we call the game. Market cap moves, never the same. Blockchain buzzing, the future's tech. Analyzing trends, keep it all in check. Dollar signs, the charts align. While the bulls and the bears intertwine. Fed talk rates climb or decline. We decode the nodes, it's all by design. The Moonshot Dispatch, hear it loud. Crypto news making waves in the crowd. Stack your sats, let the market react. Stay ahead as we plan and enact.
The Moonshot Dispatch, live and direct. Crypto markets and TA intersect. I got stack them bags high, don't get wrecked. Nick and Lee, it's time to connect.
Welcome back to regular programming, Dispatch crew. We are back in the studio with new curtains, but the same chairs. So it looks better, but still as uncomfortable as ever. You know, whatever. This week, the Iran-US peace deal is holding for the time being. Trump came out with some quote about it being, you know, this peace deal will be marked by noticeably less shooting, but not zero shooting.
You don't want to commit.
You know, peacetime has shooting, at least some. You never get rid of it.
Like you can be happy, like you shoot in the air.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Just like party shooting. Party shooting.
Party shot.
The Fed has held rates, off the back of the peace the peace deal. Bitcoin is up. The Fed has held rates relatively stable, but has flagged further hikes, which has weighed on risk assets. SpaceX was up. Now it's back down like any good rocket should.
That's right.
It is following
what a-
it. It is
I
true
love
to its
that.
We
product
did
as well.
call it. We did call it.
Yeah. And look, Feed and Greer is at 20. This week we're going to discuss strategy because we have to. There has been some. I've even done my research this week. I've even got some comments about it this week. We're going to talk about the cycle bottom, the debate. Have we hit the cycle bottom? Have we not? Glamsterdam is on the agenda, and I'm going to segue into a few things about Japan and Amazon.
Very good.
People seem to like that stuff. The Clarity Act we will touch on, disappointingly so, and talk about the local scene and the Asia scene wrap up. There you go. Did I set enough context for today's
Yep,
chat,
sounds
Nick?
good. I love it.
Now,
I can't wait to get into
How
it.
was your week, Nick?
Oh gosh, well it's Tuesday. Hasn't been, we haven't done that much stuff yet. No, I'm actually looking forward to this moonshot today. I think there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. More than last week, I would dare say. Even though last week the prices were looking, it was better. I feel like we were higher last week, and we had a big pump into like a day or two ago where I can't remember what happened, but we're up sort of mid 60s. Things are looking good, and then we're back down to like 63 or something.
63.
So it's I don't know. We're stuck in this channel at the moment. What are we going to do? Well, it's a bear market, so you just hope you don't drop down to the next leg. You hope you don't leg down to the next level. But
You want to know what happened to me this week, Nick?
oh, go on.
I almost fainted today in the blood test.
Yeah.
We had a company-wide blood test. The nurse commented about how dehydrated we were because no one could get any blood. Well, the nurse didn't seem to be able to get the right veins for starters. But then I almost fainted. After I called everyone soft, I almost fainted.
Yes, I'm party to this. I watched you go in talking about how everyone was fainting, and you came out and your face was about the color of your shirt.
I
It
know.
was you weren't looking well, but
I was not feeling well.
you've colored back up again.
Well, I was not feeling well. Yeah, so we did the blood test. I don't know how much they're going to take, but afterwards the nurse said to me, "You okay?" I said, "No, I'm not." And then I had to sit there in the rescue position with my feet up and head back, and then eat some lollies and drink some water.
Lesser mortals.
It's horrible.
One and
feeling-
done for me.
horrible feeling when you're about to pass out from anything, really.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be kind of peaceful. To be honest, I thought it'd be kind of relaxing. You'd be like, oh, when you stand up too quick, you're like, okay, just a little bit lightheaded, and then you have a nice little snooze. No, it's not like that at all. You feel really sick.
Yeah.
At our age, when you stand up too fast, you get that ringing like a grenade's just gone off nearby.
Really? I haven't had that one.
The helicopters flying above, and you're remembering the war or something?
Yeah.
Vietnam flashbacks.
Grenades going off.
I'm really impressed. I'm glad the people out there are giving blood, and you need to give blood. Just make sure you stay hydrated. Get yourself nice and hydrated beforehand, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I give blood pretty regularly. I don't do the whole 24 hours, like slam the waters. I probably maybe 3 hours ahead of my donation, I'm hitting the water as hard as is comfortable. And the second I'm like, oh, I don't like this anymore, then I stop. But only once have I gone in and they've stuck the needle in, and after about 20 seconds, the machine starts beeping, and apparently there's just no more blood for them. So
Oh, really?
the lady was like, oh, okay.
You're out of blood, sir.
Yeah, and actually one time I gave blood, and they're like, no strenuous activity for the next 24 hours. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm a young virile male. And I went, and like a few hours later, I went and played some squash. And as I was playing, I was probably like half an hour into the game. Literally, I could see this snow come down. My vision just disappeared, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm blind on the court. So I'm like, God, so I stopped. I've got to stop. I kind of went out the court and sat down, and then the vision came back, and it was all good. But I was like, wow, I've just learnt my lesson.
Wow.
In a difficult way. So I never do that again. But
The medical professionals don't spend, years at uni to be called dickheads, Nick.
yeah, but I always
what they're
figure
talking
like, they've got to cater to the there's this bell curve of society, right? And they've got to cater to the weakest, oldest part. And I'm like, I'm not in that part. I'm on the other side
You're in the
somewhere.
cool. You're in the percentages cool.
Yeah, I'm the cool side with the sunglasses on. Anyway, I wasn't that cool. It was cool. Like, it was cool to talk about.
No, that's all the blood rushing away from the extremities, and you
Yeah.
can't feel temperature as much.
Yeah, well, I couldn't see. Yeah. I lost vision. Yeah. Anyway, that was the end of that story. I can see now. I can see you. I can see how white you were today.
Okay. I felt horrible. And then after, like, she's splashing a bit of water on my face to try and bring me back to
Bring-
life, I guess. and then of course you start sweating. It's a really horrible feeling. Anyway, but
Your body
I
is
just-
in panic mode.
yeah, but just more respect to people who give blood regularly. That's you if you do it.
Oh, not me.
Well, I was pointing at you. In
Oh,
the
I
camera.
see. Good save.
This week, strategy.
We're going strategy. Okay.
Straight into strategy. STRC.
Yes.
Trading at a big discount.
Hmm.
People aren't happy out there. People are saying that Michael Saylor did this whole thing up on ChatGPT. He doesn't know what
Yeah, I
he's
did
doing.
hear about this.
I love this. But I think he does know what he's doing. And
So-
in fact, if you look at the terms, and I went and looked at the term sheets, he's put it all in his favor. Maybe one of the prompts to ChatGPT was, "Hey, make sure it's all in my favor." But he did at least. At
Yeah.
least he made sure it was smart
Make sure I
enough to
don't
go,
lose.
Make
no
sure
mistakes.
I don't lose.
Yeah, so this is we've spoken about STRC before. The broad strokes idea about this stock is that you own it. It's not a capital appreciating kind of stock. So you own it. It's supposed to be at about $100, and you earn a whopping 11.5% yield on this thing, which is huge return. It's hard for people to ignore with such a big return. And the lower the yield that's paid out is based on the $100 peg price. And I use air quotes here because it's not actually pegged to $100, but that's kind of the stated in the prospectus. Look, we're engineering this thing to be at 100. When it goes above 100, they sell more into the market to reduce the price, and then the money they get from those sales, they buy Bitcoin with. But at the moment, yeah, it dropped down to 90. It actually hasn't been at 100.
Down to $84 or something.
since, it hasn't been at 100 since mid-May. So it's been under 100 for quite a while now. For a long time, it was pegged to 100, or it seemed to be, pegged. It was sitting there bouncing off 100, which was great. The product was working as expected. Mid-May, it kind of depegged, and it's a bad term. We shouldn't be calling it
It's
depegging.
not really a peg.
It's a floating stock, but it's just supposed to be it's supposed to be going up to, it's supposed to be at $100 theoretically. And yeah, then recently it dropped down to as low as I think $82. It was really low. It's back up to 88 now. I was having a look at this thing because everyone's talking about it. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is you're looking at the death throes of a Ponzi scheme, basically."
And people comparing it to Terra Luna, it's nothing like Terra Luna because peg is the completely wrong term. It's a floating rate note with some characteristics of a perpetual, preference stock. And,
Yes.
and also there's a discretionary element to the dividend it pays out anyway.
Yeah. The other thing that people are talking about, which I think is totally fair, is with this thing below $100, Saylor recently bought, I think it was 520 Bitcoin. How did you do that if this thing's below $100 and so they're not selling any more STRC obviously into the market, or they'd be stupid to because it's just going to dump the price even more. How do they do that? Well, they did an ATM offering to the market for their MSTR stock, which is kind of the basic, this this strategy common offering. And they raised $335 million. Then they bought $40 million worth of Bitcoin. So, they've got 300 million left over. What do they do with that? Well, they put it into their cash holdings.
Yep.
And so the idea here is that, what I'm reading between the lines here, but the idea here is that they are selling their common stock to raise a bunch of cash to show people that STRC can pay its dividends forever. And at the moment, the number is 32 years. They've got enough money to pay for 32 years worth of this crazy yield. And because side note, because the yield, because the price is under $100, but they're still paying the yield as if it was at 100, the effective yield's actually like 13 or 14% at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's pretty I don't own any STRC. It's not kind of my thing. It's not it's not a risk asset. You're not sitting there buying. You're not buying it for its capital appreciation. You're buying it for the
You
yield.
can get the effect of having capital appreciation and a sweet yield.
Yes, and you can get both at the moment because you can buy it at sort of 12% under peg. And theoretically it's going to go back up to $100 and you'll get that plus the yield. Anyway, I'm talking as if this is my product I'm selling. I'm absolutely not. But I thought it was pretty interesting that they've basically, and this is where I built that meme. If you want to chuck that meme back up, no, oh, it's done. Oh man.
Jared
Anyway,
does
so,
not redo posts. Okay?
yeah, that's right. Okay. Or
The
he's,
post
he
has
just
been done.
he's gone cowboy. He's just like doing them all out of order and whenever he wants. Yeah. So basically, what he's done here is he's kind of wrecked the MSTR holders a bit by diluting it to the tune of 330 million just to prop up STRC. So he's holding this thing up, with sticky tape and balsa wood, while MSTR it's just yeah, I don't know. No, it's too late, mate. You can't put it up now. It's a nice try. Yeah, so he's got these things. He wants to buy Bitcoin, but he wants STRC to be at $100, and he also wants MSTR to be up, to have a high NAV so he can buy Bitcoin.
I guess-
and he can't sort of do all these things at once.
Given the way the terms are structured, I don't think he actually would really care what it trades at.
What STRC?
It doesn't matter too much to him.
Well, it's a failed product if it's not at 100. If you ask me. Yeah, I mean, like
I don't know,
conceptually,
conceptually, sure, but
like in the market, sorry, in the eyes of the market, maybe he mechanically doesn't care because it will come back according to him. But
well, for example, there was a number of these floating rate notes in the GFC, for example,
right,
and it's kind of like the market sort of assessing the creditworthiness of Saylor's ability to ultimately at some point get your money back on this thing, right, or get the dividends continue to pay out. And I had some friends who made life-changing fortunes in the GFC by, I am not telling you to go out and do this, but what they did, and I'm telling you an example, this is a good friend of mine did this, found a bunch of these notes, preference notes like this, not preference notes, but notes like this. And they, during the GFC, got crushed, 20 cents in the dollar. And so he was picking these things up going, well, look, I looked at the underlying portfolio and these things had an end date. And as long as the underlying companies and investments don't fail between now and a certain date, they will pay back 100, they'll pay back dollar for dollar. So I'll pay back on 100 notes. And he was like, looked at the portfolio, did the analysis and said, hang on, these things are paying like this, preferred, paying a distribution, but also was like, looked at the underlying portfolio and said, hey, these things are going to pay back. There's a risk they won't, but it's asymmetric here. And he went and leveraged everything he possibly could into these notes.
wow,
Right? Begged, borrowed, and still maxed out his credit cards because he looked at the underlying portfolio and said, these things are going to pay back and they're going to pay back $100 and I'm picking up at $20. And he was in his mid-late 20s at that point. It was enough to retire on.
wow,
So I'm not saying this, but like, for example, this here is a similar scenario. What you're really looking at here, I guess, this is it's definitely not financial advice, is that can these things ever get paid back? And if you go, Saylor's like, man, I can pay this thing out for the next 32 years. So do you think that within the next 32 years, you'll make your money back on this thing? Take your bets, but like.
But how can he do that? By diluting his common stockholders. He's kind of stealing from Paul, robbing Peter to pay Paul, kind of thing.
True, but if you've got exposure to only STRC, you don't really care what's going on with the stock, right?
Yes.
That's the definition of a Ponzi.
No,
No, Ponzi's like using new investors to pay for old ones,
not at all.
which I guess is, I mean, they're new investors of MS.
You're diluting your common stock holders
yeah,
for these
to-
STR,
and you're not even paying.
STRC.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it is. I'd say it's adjacent. Like the idea is, yeah.
It's not a pyramid scheme. It's a three-dimensional triangle.
I guess the other things to keep in mind, these STRC doesn't have like an end date. They're in perpetual, right? In perpetuity. So if you looked at this, for example, let's just say, as of 30th of December, Saylor's like, I got an end date. I've got enough assets. I'm paying this thing back. And you look at it and go, dude, it's 25, whatever it is, 15% under the market. But between now and the end of the year, I'm just taking a bet on will he pay out? Like, do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, I don't think it would be trading at such a discount at that point. Well, I don't know what the market would do, but you'd think that it would be closer to parity at that point, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think there's so much chat going on with STRC and MSTR and all that kind of stuff that there's a lot of, it's easy to get swayed by what you read on Twitter.
Yeah.
Then actually look at the underlyings. Anyway.
And the comparisons to Terra Luna, which was just an algorithmic stablecoin, which had to be pegged to be relevant. This is, you know what I mean? Twitter or X, I guess, loves making these comparisons. It's Terra Luna. It's nothing like Terra.
What's funny, like I saw that Terra Luna comparison, but the only one I ever saw was someone saying it's not like Terra Luna. So like I didn't actually see anyone going it's Terra Luna. I just saw
Oh.
people doing like that straw man argument, where they're like, for all those people saying it was Terra Luna, it's like actually who's saying it's Terra Luna?
Okay.
Anyway, I agree with
I've
you though.
strawmanned
It's,
you.
yeah, it's
I've just straw man the straw manners. We've got a question. What do you guys think of the CGT changes that will now pass? How will it affect your crypto portfolios? Definitely talk to your accountant, but my understanding is that whenever the date is, it's in 2 years or whatever when it comes in.
so July 27.
27, yeah.
Yeah, next year.
From that day, yeah, assets are going to be held. Basically, the 50% CGT discount is gone, and there will be an application of your cost base, which adjusted for inflation over that period of time. So your existing crypto portfolios up until that point it doesn't really change anything. But then I presume it'll have some impact on investor sentiment and all that kind of stuff post the changes coming in.
Yeah, so I guess like
And then-
theoretically, you want the crypto prices to be as high as possible by July 1, 2027, because that's kind of when you start your, the new regime of tax. And if you start a really high cost base, then you pay less tax theoretically. How will it affect the crypto portfolios? I think it's gonna make it tough to do investment stuff like this.
Yeah.
Generally at a higher level broadly across the market, people are going to probably invest less. I would think.
Yeah.
Just because it's just the risk reward isn't there anymore, or it's not there as much.
And I think if you look at it just from a first principles basis and say, well, look, anything you want more of, don't tax it more. So it's kind of saying, hey, I do believe them when they say they've thrown everything at trying to get more money into supplies, because the only thing that retains these tax benefits is basically building new properties. Everything else has been screwed. For want of a better term. Well, it has been. I mean, if you want to make a share investment or a crypto investment now, you've effectively doubled the amount of tax you paid. So if I just go back to that first principles basis, you want more of something, they're saying don't invest in anything but new properties.
Yeah.
Is that fair? That's my take anyway.
So
Sorry.
So no, you go, please.
So yeah, where that leaves us all, like everyone basically said, unless you're spending money on new property, you cannot get stuffed.
I think this is a good segue as well into, did you read that Illinois new tax that's coming in?
No.
So Illinois have apparently passed, and it's going to come in on January 1st, 2027 or something like that, a new taxing crypto businesses when they trade Bitcoin, when they transfer Bitcoin, and when they custody Bitcoin, 0.2%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this not the wildest thing you've ever heard? And I'm going to is that not tyranny? Like, come on. It's taxing the purchasing, the transferring, and the custody. What else is there? What do you... So this seems completely ridiculous to me. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I was blown away, and I thought it was... I actually was like, check the date to see if it was April 1st. Because I'm like, this is no way this is true.
It's funny in the US, and Seattle is having this problem. So Starbucks, which is Starbucks, the coffee shop, is probably one of the most well-known global brands that have merged out of Seattle outside of maybe
Then why did you have to say the coffee shop?
Starbucks.
Yeah.
I'm just clarifying it's Starbucks.
But it's the most well-known.
This guy.
Anyway, please
Starbucks.
continue. Please continue. Starbucks, a coffee shop. Yes. we're good.
Starbucks. Anyway, so it's been headquartered at Starbucks since day one, and they've got and it seems to be a thing in the US. I'm surprised by how, like in home of capitalism, how many sort of left-leaning or socialist-leaning mayors have been coming into it. And the new mayor or whatever she came in, and the Starbucks just responded by going, you know what, we're leaving. No retrenchments, no relocation. Just sack the lot, move to Nashville, Tennessee, and set up business there because they've got welcoming laws for tax. Because, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, that's nuts. I mean, that's what's going to happen in Illinois. Anyone who's like any crypto exchange is going to be like, so hang on, I've got to tax every user of my crypto exchange 0.2% for anything they do. I don't think so. Yeah, it's just nuts. But I was thinking about this. So this tax is only on, and this is my hot take, this tax is only on crypto businesses, right? So if you're an exchange or some kind of crypto platform that's covered by this tax, then you have to pay for transfer, custody, and exchange. maybe what they're doing, maybe they're actually super Bitcoin maxis and they're trying to push everyone back into the peer-to-peer industry and trying to make everyone go, all right, we'll do it we'll do the transfer on the street from my ledger to your ledger kind of thing, using satellite technology to, and avoiding any kind of co-opted exchange or whatever to get in, to be an intermediary. It's just like all peer-to-peer now. Maybe that's the actual play. Anyway.
I mean, this is the thing, right? If Bitcoin was just a bit faster and a bit less shit at transacting like high volumes.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Ethereum later on, but you know what I mean? Like we would, and everyone just used it. It's a bit like, okay, great.
Well,
like,
then people talk about the Lightning Network, I guess, but it's, I don't know, Lightning Network's failed.
All right, more questions coming in. Let's talk to banking. All right.
Debanking.
Called 15 banks this week searching for a new account for SMSF. 12 of them ran a mile a moment I mentioned Bitcoin. Yep, that's the reality. That is the reality.
15
12,
banks.
I mean, you don't have a lot of options with SMSF accounts. Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah, and on that topic, I would probably avoid Macquarie Bank at the moment. They have blocked it completely. It's not like they've reduced the amount you can send per month. It's completely blocked. But yeah, at the moment, just to ground truth here, people. Sorry, we are seeing the best results out of NAB and ANZ, I believe it is. So if you're looking for banks, I don't know if that aligns with. Is it a loan tonight? Only reception ones were NAB, Great Southern Bank, and Bendigo. Okay.
Bendigo reps the one that said we are an anti-crypto bank.
Oh, not Bendigo. NAB, Great Southern Bank, and the Greater.
Yeah. It's a really tricky one. I mean, more broadly, the one thing I'd add about this is that, for example, if Bitcoiners or crypto people were keen, this is where it gets crazy. Banks would offer you and us any crypto exchange or anyone account tomorrow if the product you were buying was not able to be taken off the platform. If you had a closed loop system, they wouldn't care. And this is the problem. To protect the few, they punish the many. Because the reality is people get scammed.
Yep.
And I kind of get it from there's two ways to look at this. One is from the libertarian point of view, which is like, hey, it's your money, do whatever the hell you want with it. And if you lose it, for example, you take all your money out at the ATM, you go and blow it up at the casino or get robbed. It's kind of like, oh, yeah, your problem, right? For some reason, I don't quite understand. I guess there is laws around this, but if you do it electronically, all of a sudden it's like, well, give me my money back. It's like, well, once you move crypto is literally electronic cash, right? It's a bare asset. But the banks, I guess there's no public way that they can win a debate when a lady, I shouldn't say lady, a pensioner is getting ripped off of 50 grand from a scammer. And the easiest way to get rid of any fraud is to block all transactions. And that's the reality. That's the reality of why the banks do what they do. It's frustrating. Because most people who are doing the right thing or people who just want to use their money get wrapped up because of that.
That's right. I wish there was a way that you could prove to the banks that you were sophisticated, that you were happy to take the risk on yourselves. And I get it, then everyone, like the scammers would convince people to prove to the bank that they're sophisticated, blah, blah, blah. It's sort of, you keep, going higher and higher up this chain. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs at the moment. Everyone's sort of hoping that, the regulations coming in are going to stop this from being a problem. I don't see it immediately being, this silver bullet.
I don't see it being a silver bullet at all. Although we have seen in other jurisdictions, banks are much more willing to bank.
Yeah, so if we look at Singapore as a great example, so we've we're in Singapore, we've dealt with the Singapore banking system and their the regulator there for years and years, and it is a much more restrictive environment in what we can do and what we're required from the regulator. But the banks are more open to the idea of crypto, and I think it's sort of, if/when the regulation comes in here, it's not going to be like suddenly on day one, everyone can get a bank account. It's still going to be a slow process for the banks to get comfortable with everyone and make sure that the regulation is getting, monitored and enforced properly and all that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, the banks, they're not controlled by the government in that way. They can still deny service to someone if they want to. And you know, there are available areas for recourse, but it's not super strong. Like you can go to AFCA or whatever and try and make the banks do what you want, but it's a long and arduous process, and you usually, you know, the banks will have some kind of argument, or they'll have like an entire legal team against you, and it's hard to sort of, you know, come out in the end looking good there. But anyway, this is something we have spoken about this many times. Banking is, I've always called it like the final frontier of crypto. You know, when you're trying to get your normal dollars into this different financial system, you got to use some kind of conduit, some kind of, you know, on-ramping platform, which, you know, independent reserve is one of those. And then that's sort of where they squeeze you, because that's where the, you know, the control kind of the control that we can exert ends at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we see here? ANZ seems to be okay, but they wouldn't accept a Dogecoin trust deed. Oh, DocuSign. Yeah, capital DO. I'm saying Doge every time. Yeah, okay. Well, that sounds like more of a like administrative issue than a crypto thing.
Yeah. And the banks are just so paranoid. They just assumed everyone's getting scammed, and you know.
Yeah.
And we've talked about scams 1,000 times. You know, the challenge with scams is what makes them so difficult. It's not like people when I talk to people outside of crypto, there seems to be going, I got scammed because someone like lost my login details and someone just took the money, and it was like some cyber attack or something like that. It's not that at all. It's you hitting send to a third party who has won your trust that they're not a crook.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times you tell people, hey, if you're sending to an address that you don't control, it's gone.
Yeah.
You're right. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. No, it's not fine. It's going. And like, there is no legitimate business in crypto that I can think of that requires you really to send them your crypto for them to trade on your behalf or do something to, right? But I'm sure there's maybe one or two, but anyone asking you, anyone who's offering to invest on your side, on your behalf in crypto,
it's such a red flag.
It's almost certainly a scam. But these scams have been going on and it's an exact same scam. It's just that and often these scams don't even necessarily involve crypto per se. It's just that crypto is the easiest way to get it and have it
because crypto's better than the banking system at transfers, right?
Because, you know, people who, you know, sadly, when people see it, they're investing in what they think is going to be FX or like SpaceX or something traditional, right? It's just that the means to get the scammer the money is usually in crypto. Anyway, let's not talk about scams much more than that. Be here all day.
Alone Tonight needs some reinforcements. He's put in a complaint to Macquarie Bank about his crypto.
He's put a complaint into AFCA. So, I mean, yeah, AFCA is a funny one. So when you put in a complaint to AFCA, the banks kind of have to listen. If you're a member of AFCA, you're sort of forced to pay attention because they can do real bad stuff to you. And even if AFCA rule in the favor of the bank still has to pay. So, and I'm not saying like they have to pay the customer, but there's just like a $1,000 submission fee or something like that they just have to pay regardless of whether you win or lose.
That's similar to telcos. They also have a body, I think it's the TIO. And when I worked at telcos, we were basically trained whenever someone drops that ball, you just move heaven and earth, because it's $2,000 for every complaint, regardless of whether the customer is just talking rubbish. So
yeah, it is. I mean, it's I totally understand why this kind of concept exists, but you just need to, anyway. You start when you've got this sort of nanny state environment,
it's crazy, right?
You end up in these situations.
Yeah. Let me do what I want until I can complain that someone else.
Yeah.
That's someone else's fault. It's like, you sent your money to a third party, but somehow it's someone else's fault for not stopping you. It's just crazy, and that our system is geared around going, well, if we don't save people from themselves, it's our fault.
Yeah. And I mean, we do so much in Independent Reserve to look at this stuff. We have all these heuristics and analytics to figure out, you know, what's the demographic that's likely to get scammed, what kind of movements and transaction activity and kind of stuff. Because if we don't, then the banks are going to come knocking on our door and say, hey, that money needs to come back now because it's been recalled. And it's just such a minefield. And so we've got, you know, whole teams invested in trying to make sure people don't get scammed. And the downside is that, you know, during our checks, we annoy people. We piss them off because they're trying to send money for a legitimate purpose, and
Can't win.
and we're like, oh, we've got to find out, are they getting scammed? And then they're like, no, I'm not getting scammed, and they say the wrong thing somehow, and we're like, they're probably getting scammed. You know what I mean? It's just so hard because
And people who are getting scammed will lie to your face.
people are getting scammed, have been trained by the scammers in exactly what they need to say to us. So we need to learn that as well. As this become, as I say, it's this cat and mouse game where you're trying to stay one step ahead. But
The
it's
bank seems similar. Benjamin J. Rabbit was talking about how a friend had a ComSec account frozen because of buying monochrome ETF.
That's incredible.
And
wild.
here's the thing. Then they called her after freezing. Oh, they called back after freezing and they said, what were the intentions of buying monochrome? And have you consulted a financial advisor? It's almost, it's a bit of a nanny state situation.
Yeah, and that's not even
an
they're getting
ETF.
scammed. That's you're taking too much risk and we don't like it. Like what are the consequences of this? So someone's bought, why would they have set up this freeze on the ComSec account? It's not even a bank account. They must have, someone else must have called up and said, hey, I bought this ETF and it's gone to zero or whatever. Give me my money back. And then AFCA's gone, you should probably give them the money back. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't
Certain
be.
accounts in ComSec within the bank may have advisors attached to them, and for whatever reason, it might have been flagged going, well, you have an advisor. Why are you buying something that they're not allowed to advise on? For example,
okay.
maybe
Alright.
I'm just throwing out ideas here.
Yeah, we are
because,
jumping to conclusions.
There are no personal responsibility for anyone anymore. So yeah.
Right, shall we move on to the news?
Yeah, moving on. The next thing
One quick question about the travel rule from, got to make time for Skynet.
Oh yeah, what do we got here? What methods do you use to verify customers control their self-hosted wallets under the travel rule? Message signing, test transactions, whitelisting, and why was it chosen? Okay, so it's an interesting question. When we first brought in the concept of trying to adhere to the travel rule, which was for our Singapore business, and this is back in 2020, I'm going to say, we did have the option to do all three basically. So you could either sign a message. You could do what's been now called a Satoshi test, which I hate that term, but it's the idea of you sending a specific amount of crypto that we specify to show that you control the sending wallet. And was there a third option? Might have actually only been those two. So you could sign a message, which was, 0.1% of people could actually figure out how to do. And it only worked for Bitcoin really. Even Ethereum, there were some services you could sign messages, but if the customer signed it with one service and then we tried to decrypt it with another, it wouldn't work because it wouldn't have the same, it'd be a different signing methodology. So it was really nasty, and we had to sort of write out explicit instructions for people on how to sign, and it just became pretty much everyone used the Satoshi test method where they sent a specific amount. But even that was flawed because you needed to be able to send, some places have a minimum send amount, and the amount that we would get people to send was really small. We didn't want them to send a meaningful amount, so it could be a test. Anyway, these days it's purely declaration. So we got rid of all of that stuff, and now it's you click a button and you say, I do declare that this is my wallet, or this is my this is a platform that I am, the account owner of. Hopefully that answers. Why was it chosen? Because basically that's kind of the industry standard. So if you look at any other platform that implements travel rule stuff, that's pretty much what they do as well. No one really does the Satoshi test or the message signing anymore, for good reason, I think. I mean, the signing thing was cool. I kind of enjoyed it from a technical getting my hands dirty kind of thing, but yeah, no one used it. It's just too difficult.
Another comment, Skynet. A friend uses CoinSpot and was asked to do a video call verification showing their wallet address. It seemed a bit convoluted and risky, hence the prior question. Now, that's fine. I mean, look, the guys at CoinSpot, we talk to them frequently, and we know they have the same challenges with us with a lot of this stuff, right? And I mean, I don't know the particulars of this case, but maybe there was concerns as well about who was sending it, and it could, who knows, right?
Yeah, video call
I think
generally.
video call generally would not be the standard method, but it may, the circumstances or the particular details of this particular circumstances may have called for it. I have no idea.
Yeah, video call, it's a high, there's a lot of effort involved from the exchange side, and it's annoying for the customer as well. So you generally only do it when you need to do it because it's just labor intensive. I'm guessing there was probably concerns for someone getting scammed in that scenario. but yeah, the concept is clean. Like these days, although you know what, I think video calls and getting screenshots and stuff is probably going to go the way of the dodo because AI is just so good at recreating the stuff. You can do live videos with AI if you know what you're doing, and they're undetectable basically, like to the human. So yeah, I'm not sure
For
how
humans.
valuable video calls and screenshots are these days, but you kind of just have to do the best with what you have.
When do humans go the way of the dodo and AI is just talking to AI and humans don't even need to exist anymore?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all right. I mean, our best hope is a singularity, right? Our worst hope is the humans are dead.
Hey, look, we have some AI did some work for us. In fact, we would have way more viewers if AI did the show for us. So this is AI's version of us if we were female. Check it out. Do you reckon I actually look-
We're related. in this
I don't know.
we look like the same girl just with blonde and brown hair?
Nick, I probably would.
Hey, what are you saying?
Oh, you're all right, I guess.
The lighting's changed. I'm all well, mainly because I was about to faint today. Maybe that's why I'm extra white, but I don't know. The lights. The other girl had my female version has a bit of a tan at least. All right, time to bring out the charts. Time to bring out not the charts. What am I talking about? Trying to bring out the tarot cards and your astrology charts because
Okay.
we're going to discuss cycle bottom debate.
Yes.
Some people saying we're in, some people saying we're not.
So we have this is not a new debate. We've kind of been talking about this for a few weeks, I guess.
No, it's a new
but
debate for the
I thought
segment.
this is sure. I thought this is an interesting chart if you want to chuck it up. So yes, broader strokes here. We're like, is this the bottom? Are we there yet? Etc. So some guy, I can't remember who, apologies, has built this chart, which I thought was kind of interesting. So the top lines up there are sort of Bitcoin price and some kind of like moving average, I guess, which is, just giving you an idea of where we are. And I'm guessing that must be at a log scale. The bottom chart is the MVRV, which is the market cap of Bitcoin divided by the realized market cap. What is the realized market cap, you ask? It is the last time a coin moved, what was the price of the coin at that time? Use that to calculate the market cap for that coin and then add it up across the entire supply, basically.
Okay.
So it's obviously much less because there's a bunch of coins that haven't moved since the price was $1. There's a bunch of coins that moved, a second ago, which means it was $63,000 or whatever. So the market cap, if you get the log version of the MVRV chart, it's actually extremely good at picking tops and bottoms. So if we look at this thing here, all those little red circles on that descending line, that is the tops of the market, basically. So that's when the idea here, I'm always saying MRVR or MVR, is the MVRV chart. When it's really high, it means the relative cost of a coin is higher compared to the market cap, basically. And when it's low, it means sort of it's oversold. So at the top there, you can see it kind of hits that descending line, but the bottom is probably more interesting because it's a flat line, and you can see each bottom, it bounces almost exactly the same way. Now, at the moment, on the very far right of that bottom chart, you can see our little green line, a little squiggle there, hasn't actually hit that bottom line yet. So according to this, and it's been pretty much right for the last, 3 cycles, we haven't hit the bottom yet. Where is that line, you ask? It's at about $42,000 US.
Oh, that's some pain. That's another 50% down.
So it is, but it'll, if you take this in context, I think if you look at the drawdowns on the previous cycles, we had something like 89% drawdown in 2014 or whatever. I think it was like 82% drawdown or something in 2017. The last one drawdown was something like 77. So it's kind of this declining drawdown, which means where, the bear markets are getting less and less deep. If we go down to 42K, that will be a 66% drawdown. So it's still nowhere near as bad as the previous bear markets.
Yeah, right.
Right now we're at something like 49%. So if we can somehow hold this 60 to 65K channel, that is a very shallow bear market. Yeah. We're doing pretty well considering all the other stuff that's happening, and there's all these AI's taking everyone's attention, and there's quantum risk, which I love talking about, and blah blah blah, a lot of this kind of stuff. If we can stick to the 60K channel, that would be actually quite impressive. If we hit 42, that's still better than previous years and would fairly confidently mark the bottom of the cycle.
Did you hear that, everybody? What are you complaining about? This is crypto. We're already
Super cycle incoming.
Yeah, it's like if we're only down another $20,000. Yeah, I mean it would be painful. Don't get me wrong, but we still, you know, if you subscribe to the 4-year cycle, we still have a number of months to go. So probably like 3 or 4 months before we get a time-based bottom. Even if we are at a price-based bottom already right now, which could possibly happen, it's unlikely that we really make any meaningful gains until we've kind of flushed that sentiment out. And anyway, that's sort of the TA, astrology for men. I thought that was kind of interesting chart and how accurate it's been predicting the previous cycles. Hopefully we, oh man, I mean, if at 42K, that's a good buy. Like I'm happy to pick up some Bitcoin at that price.
Yeah. That's hectic. Well, thanks for that. You know what? This bear market, I feel nothing. I feel nothing. I've
Just
my
letting the
ha-
pain wash off you, huh? Is that all you got?
My favorite. It's too
Is
late.
that
to
called
get it now.
PTSD?
One of the very first memes that you know I still think is true is I'm sure someone out there you've seen it before. I don't know, Jared, how quickly you may be able to find it, but it's like that meme where it's like a bunch of people going onto a roller coaster and a bunch of people coming off the roller coaster, and the people coming off are all like goblins and ghouls, and the people going on it all these like fresh-faced, like happy people.
Yeah.
And it always has bear mark. Here it is. Yeah. And it has, and anyway, Jared will bring up Ethereum, and it has, you know, Bitcoin hodlers since, you know, the previous market cycle and the newbies. And when we bring it up, you can see people who've been through a couple cycles on the left, and you can see the people who are just new to Bitcoin on the right. Yeah, there we go.
And look, the ghouls are looking for exit liquidity. They're reaching out. Like, we really need to get out of my position.
Buy my bags. Yeah, I love that meme. But anyway, I'm definitely on the left side. I'm a ghoul. And I feel nothing. I feel nothing. If this is as bad as it gets, you know what? I just go down more so I can feel something.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna have to go get another. I'm gonna have to go offer more blood so I can feel something. Yeah, that's what I have to offer. But
Yeah, this is depressing. What else we got?
yeah, prices will go up, prices will go down. Okay, Glamsterdam time.
Glamsterdam. Yeah, okay. So Glamsterdam is the latest
What is
Ethereum.
Glamsterdam? Where is Glamsterdam? I presume it's in Amsterdam. But
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I thought it was just a play on Amsterdam. It's glamorous Amsterdam. But yeah, Glamsterdam is the name of the next upcoming Ethereum hard fork. We've had a few in the past. Fukasha? Would I remember? No, that's a bread, isn't it?
red.
Fukushima? No, I don't know. I'm making stuff up. There's some Japanese name. Yeah, that's right. Satoshi? Is that it? No, that can't be. That doesn't sound right. Anyway, Glamsterdam is the latest hard fork that's they've got no timeline for this one, so they're just bringing it forward into the test nets now, which is cool. It means they're sort of ready to start testing this thing in anger. It is apparently the biggest hard fork we've done since the merge. So if those who remember the merge, that was where they merged the beacon chain and basically became proof of stake. They went from proof of work to proof of stake, which is a hugely complicated change that they implemented live while the network, was running, zero downtime, etc. Is actually very impressive. So Glamsterdam is bringing in, I'm going to read you out 3 major changes. First one is a block level access lists. Basically what this will allow is for parallel block making, which is kind of cool. So at the moment you got the mempool and blocks get picked out of the mempool one at a time, and that gets kind of processed when a block gets confirmed. With this new thing, you'll be able to process multiple different blocks at once. How could you possibly do that, you ask, when blocks could interact with the same address? Well, what they do is they have got this kind of mapping system where they go, okay, this transaction is only going to deal with those addresses here, and this transaction here is only going to deal with those addresses there. We can do those both at the same time because they're both exclusive to each other. The second one, EIP 7732. I didn't put a name on there, unfortunately. That was silly of me. This is about building blocks. So right now, what happens is when a block needs to get built, most block builders outsource this process to a third party that builds it in such a way that's really competitive and lucrative to the person who's actually going to be mining the block. And they use these services to make sure it's, the most efficient and built in the best way possible. This change is about bringing that in-house directly into the protocol, because they figure, this is a pretty important part of how Ethereum works, how any project works really, how the blocks get built. We don't want to just outsource it, hope these guys do the right thing and hope they don't make mistakes. So bring it right into the protocol, make it happen in-house essentially. That's that one. And the final change, EIP 8007, is basically about reconfiguring gas costs. So there's a bunch of sort of smaller changes under this one. But the idea is when you have a smart contract, every operation that the smart contracts can perform has a gas cost. Now, are those gas costs configured correctly? Are the most difficult, hardest to perform actions, the highest gas costs? Turns out they're not. So when the gas costs were originally configured, it all made sense at the time, but things have changed over the years, and this thing is about properly costing what you're doing with your gas when you're doing like various things in your smart contract and performing various actions. So theoretically, what this should do is make things better for block builders, because they'll get paid for, commensurate for what they're actually doing. But all over, like if we sort of sum this whole thing up, it's basically a scaling update. So Ethereum want to further scale this product. They've really gone down this path, and we've spoken about this many times before. They've gone down this path of, we don't really care that we're kind of poleaxing our main, the Ether token by making everything super, super cheap, and people don't really need the Ether token anymore. They're more of the idea that, look, build it and they will come kind of thing. We need to make this product as fast and efficient as possible. And it's paying off, if you ask me. So
and look, and the strategy they're following is not unprecedented. Amazon, Jeff Bezos said the exact same thing in the late 90s, and he said don't expect profit until while they're scaling, right? In fact, I had a look at a few examples of this, like Netflix, Uber, Spotify. Spotify still undercharges for its service because they just want to get people addicted to the streaming. Reed Hastings from Netflix did the same thing. They wanted to undercut Blockbuster, who they did ironically try to sell their business to at one point, and Blockbuster said no. Just to sort of muscle them out of the market. Standard Oil, Rockefeller did the exact same thing. I know this from, my family history got undercut. So my mum's grandfather, so we're going back a few generations now. He was in the oil business in the US back in the 30s or whatever. He went out of business because Rockefeller came through and just flooded the market with cheap oil until he ran all his competitors out of business. Once he had a monopoly, and antitrust history on this is all well established. Then he jacked up the prices and became one of the most richest humans ever. So
because that's illegal these days, right?
Yeah,
like you can't undercut like that.
Correct. But the thing is, this is a well tried strategy that businesses do. So I'm not against it. If it's like you said, build it and they will come. And I think, but you're kind of seeing the scaling now. Even though Ethereum's, you're not making much money on your Ethereum in your block rewards, it's more activity than ever. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Like the active addresses or the activity is up something like 80% since they started this whole thing. So it seems to be working. And while everyone's getting free transactions, it's great. But it's funny, there's still this hangover of Ethereum being the most expensive network, if you ask me. Like, and this is a sample size of one, but when I think of, Ethereum and all the other layer ones out there, I'm like, well, Ethereum is, great. It's the most mature one, but it's the most expensive. And that's probably not so true these days,
Yeah.
And even if it is true, it's not by, it's orders of magnitude.
Who's out there
closer.
saying is his name Harrod Jail?
Yeah. Why are you guys not transacting on Cardano? Sorry.
Look, transactions on Cardano are really cheap. They're like 0.14 of an ADA, which is like 6 cents.
Why is no one doing it, Joe?
There's a few people doing it. I did one the other day. The withdrawal.
Yeah, I was trying to sell.
Yeah. So look, I'm all for it. Like you said, build it and they will come. If you really want to super scale this thing, you kind of need to have this all sorted in advance, right?
Yep.
You don't want to be doing this.
I think they're doing the right thing.
All right. Anything else to add on the Glamsterdam update? Nope.
No, I think that's it.
Well, the next one, only we have to touch on it briefly because the odds are now no longer in our favor that Clarity will get done.
This is not good. Like, as much as I love hating on Clarity because it's fun to, say it's boring, if the from what I was reading, like if we don't get it through now, if they don't get it through now, it's kind of 2030 is the next opportunity.
Yeah.
Just because of the way everything goes, and then you got the primaries. I don't know what that means, and then you got like elections again. I don't know what that means, and you got a lot of these like political things that happen, and you just don't have the opportunity to.
Do you reckon they'll just ram it through last minute?
Well, that's what I'm kind of betting on is like someone's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat somehow, because that's kind of bad news. If suddenly everyone realizes, the crypto clarity, the clarity deal is not going to get done, that's not good.
Yeah,
right?
well, I did.
For sentiment.
I asked Claude. I did my research.
Okay.
Claude did my research. I asked if there was any other examples of things getting rammed through last hour. You want to know what a well-known example of something they didn't think would get through, but it got rammed through at the 11th hour? Dodd-Frank.
Yeah,
And
okay.
that's a big thing, right?
I mean, yeah, okay.
So there's still time.
There's not much time. We need more time.
Jared checked his watch. How much time exactly? 14 hours.
Yeah, they're going to be cutting it close. It'll be pretty impressive if they do get it. So what I understand is, as per usual, the hang-ups are the ethics kind of stipulations in this thing. Everyone wants to stop another Millennia coin getting released, basically. If we can, I don't know why we can't all agree on that. Like, that seems like a good idea to me. It seems so obvious. Who's voting against this thing? Just stop politicians from being able to release a coin and use their notoriety to pump and dump. Like, it seems so obvious.
Like I said, it seemed to me like, okay, so here was the quote I found about Dodd-Frank, for example. That was a huge piece of legislation, 2,300 words apparently.
Yeah, right.
And most people who were voting on it hadn't even read it or understand it. Yet it got done.
So, and that's a great point. So there's some guy in the US made a very similar call about the Clarity Act. He's like, look, the reason why this is having so much trouble is most of the senators voting on this don't know what they're voting for. They don't understand it. They're not crypto native. They're not these technical guys who understand this kind of stuff. So you're expecting them to vote on this thing, which they're like, oh man, am I just like allowing the devil in the back door kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I get that, but then I feel like that brings up the broader point for these,
They can't be experts in
300
everything they make
senators.
laws on.
How can they, like, they've all got to be experts in everything they vote. It's impossible for them to do.
Isn't that why they have advisors and people who do all this stuff for them?
Exactly. They're like, this is not a new problem, I guess is my point. While I totally understand that they, it's difficult for them to be across every detail of all the different things they've got to make decisions on. This is not something new. They should know how to do it.
I mean, they get together, they horse trade on things and go, okay, I'll get what you're trying to achieve. Give me this other thing.
Did you see there's like a housing bill that they've put through and like they've tacked on the back of it, PS, no CBDCs until 2030?
No way.
Yeah. And it's
I did
like,
not
hang
see
on,
that.
this is like some housing bill, has nothing to do with crypto. And then some guy's like, hey, do you want to put that CBDC clause in there? And they're like, and then everyone's like, yep, that'll do. And it's voted. So why don't we just do that with Clarity? Like split Clarity up into like 50 different things and just tack it onto 50 different other random things.
Maybe that's what they'll do. Maybe that's what they'll do.
You
Who
don't
knows?
know.
I have no idea how that works.
Yeah, that's okay. That's enough clarity.
Clarity,
now.
all right.
That's enough clarity.
Back to some local news, sticking to the schedule here. BlockEarner. So our good friends over at BlockEarner. This week, actually, during the DECA conference, there was a High Court ruled that so ASIC just couldn't leave it alone. They had to go back. And there's a couple of views on this. I'm not a lawyer, but I'd love to get some views from the crowd on this one. But effectively, a High Court ruled Earner product was indeed a financial product offered without proper licensing. And ASIC overturned BlockEarner's earlier court win. They just couldn't leave it alone, could they?
Yeah,
ASIC
and I
just-
get it. Like, they lost a lot of face with that one, I think, because they came in charging, like, we've got this, boys. And then the court was like, no, sorry, you don't. And they've come back and, they've got it now again.
I'd love to look. I know this. There's a lot of stuff on this. I mean, I'm just not a lawyer, so I don't know the details of this. Like, why did they pursue it? Was it just a face-saving thing, or was it like, no, we need to get this through because of like something else that they plan to do?
Not sure.
I'd love to hear the implications from someone who knows about this stuff, because I definitely am not qualified to comment on that.
I figure like ASIC have got to, they lose a lot of cases from what I can see. They've got to, there's probably some kind of KPI, like, guys, you got to win at least one case. Come on.
Come on,
So they've gone like, this one, I think we can win.
if you guys want your pay increase, you're going to need to win a case.
Skynet tells us, my favorite topic, Trump signed an EO today about quantum supremacy. They accelerate they accelerated timeline for migration to post-quantum from 2035 to 2031. Yeah, okay. Well, the US is starting to take quantum stuff a bit more seriously. When will the Bitcoin guys do it? We spoke about Ethereum quantum stuff last week. They've got options, but Bitcoiners, come on. I haven't heard anything on Bitcoin for quantum stuff for a while. I did look up. So apparently Microsoft came out with something that helped with quantum, but it seems like I was like, oh gosh, battle stations, everybody, but actually it was a bit of a nothing burger. Anyway, thanks for somehow like shoehorning quantum into the discussion. Appreciate it.
Yeah, bits and pieces from around the globe.
Oh yes, I've got something I want to talk about on this one.
Oh, sorry. Oh, from the bits and pieces?
Yeah, from bits and pieces.
Okay.
Or around the globe. Actually, no, the Asian news. Sorry, Asian news sounds more. But I've also got bits and pieces. Do I? No, I don't. I've already
Bits
talked
and
about
pieces is going to include the Asia roundup.
Okay, let's do it.
So the news this week: CMC is suing the CFTC.
CME.
Oh man, it's because I got no blood. Okay, you need more. I need more blood to function at an optimal level. I just don't think I'm at that. I just don't think I'm operating at efficiency here. CME is suing a CFTC over perpetual futures approval. Dodd-Frank, hey, there it is. Dodd-Frank swap versus futures classification file.
Yeah, so like, I think we spoke about it recently, Coinbase and some other group, Kalshi was it, have been approved to do perpetual swaps on their platform, which in the US has been like historically you couldn't do it. You had to go to some international non-US platform to do that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, hang on, am I talking about the right one here?
So what I was referring to here is they're referring to Dodd-Frank to say, hey, we should classify these things differently.
Yeah. Is this, sorry, I might be confusing two stories here. CME suing the CFTC. No, I think it was the same one, right? CFTC gave Coinbase and Kalshi approval to trade perps, and CME is like, hang on, no, it should be classified in a different way. And we want to be able to trade it, and we want those guys to not be able to trade it. Anyway, there's a bit of tit for tat.
Well, the FCC won't let me be or let me be me, so we'll let me see.
Nice. Because you're the real Jared. Yes, you're the real Jared.
The people over in Illinois have, as you mentioned before, have added a 0.2% transaction tax from January 2027. So, 6 months. But that's
bring it.
no one's just going to do any business there.
No, so there is groups that have started to form to counteract this and try and get this thing reversed. But it's crazy at the moment. Like I remember someone telling me in the office maybe a week ago about the idea, like, hey, they raised this thing, and now it's actually like they've all voted on it and it's all good to go. Like I was blown away. I was like, no way is that ever going to get voted in, and here we are. Anyway, hopefully they can reverse it because that sucks for Illinois. Oof.
Illinois. What crypto businesses have come out of Illinois?
None that I'm aware of. Maybe that's why. I tell you, as I say, this is an underhanded
Delaware.
way.
Isn't Delaware in Illinois?
Is it? No
That's
idea.
where.
I think Delaware is its own state.
Probably right.
Yeah, as I say, this is a way for them to get peer-to-peer back
Delaware.
on board. It's like a secret 4D chess kind of.
Illinois. It's where Chicago is.
Yeah, Chicago.
I was making stuff up.
St. Louis.
Where is Delaware?
Anyway. Somewhere in the Midwest, I'm going to say.
Delaware was like a... Oh, really? I thought Delaware was like a jurisdiction within Illinois.
Didn't you live in the US for a while?
Yeah, but I don't know where Delaware is. It's a US state.
Oh, it's East Coast. Oh,
Man,
wow.
wow. It's not even the same area. Where were you in on that one to correct me before I made a fool of myself? Just going to cop that one sweet. Like I said, I'm only operating with about 80% blood. So
I have an issue with the way some US states are spelt. Like we've got Illinois, and there's Arkansas,
Yeah. What about
and
that's the-
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque. That's one of my favorite words. I love Albuquerque. Yeah, Massachusetts. Oh, I hate that one. It's Massachusetts. Anyway, So I wanted to talk about Oman mining.
Oh yeah, Oman hash. Oman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oman hash. Yeah, it's interesting because they're trying to nationalize
That
the
is-
hash rate.
Yeah,
This
so
is crazy. Yeah,
the
tell me more
story
about
the
this.
story here is that in Oman they've basically said if you want to be a miner, wow, how did
Yeah,
that come
no,
out?
Oman.
A miner, you have to point your mining rig at our state-owned pool, which basically means that the pool controls what kind of blocks get confirmed or what kind of blocks get built and proposed, and then everyone sort of provides their power to this pool. Yeah, wild stuff. So what does this mean? Essentially, censorship stuff goes out the window because Oman can now just decide what everyone's mining and ignore certain blocks that they don't like. I thought, like, it's kind of an interesting thought experiment to figure out or to try and consider where this goes logically. If we think about other countries picking up this same idea and going, actually, that's kind of cool. What if we force everyone who mines in this country to point their mining rig at our, nation state pool, and then we control what blocks get built. The concept of decentralization kind of goes out the window at this point. And yeah, if we play it further out, I guess, what ends up happening is you've got these like a regulated Bitcoin. So if you've got Bitcoin that have been mined by the state, essentially by the state pool,
Yeah.
and Bitcoins that were mined outside of the state pool, you end up having this two kind of class system. You've got like one Bitcoin that's kind of regulated with a suit and a tie, but he's got a ball gag in his mouth. He's like a real cuck. And then you got the other Bitcoin, which is like wild and free. He's like driving down, the desert highway in his Mustang with his sunglasses on, and no way, feet up on the dash. You just have
Easy
this.
Rider. He's just riding one of those.
Oh yeah, we could. Oh, that's
One of those Harleys with the monkey grippers.
But those are that's comical for me. Like the Simpsons ruined that motorcycle for me.
Really?
I don't know. There's some episode where there's a guy like big fat dude, and he's just like you're laughing at him. You don't think he's cool at all. He's just this doofus.
Easy Rider.
So I feel like I know it's dangerous times to consider the prospect of having this state mining pool. Anyway, so if you want to mine legally in Oman, you have to do this now.
That's crazy.
And hopefully they're the first and last country that does this. But yeah, anyway.
Hello, Bitcoin.
Having said that, we've mined 19 point something million Bitcoin so far. There's
How many
not
left
that
there?
many to go. Yeah. Halal Bitcoin. That's it. That's
I like
literally it. Like you've got these different kinds of Bitcoin. And if, these chain analysis type groups are going to have to start categorizing what's
Bitcoin,
Anyway, whatever. We're not there yet, but like and unfortunately, as I say, like most of Bitcoin, vast majority of Bitcoin has already been mined. So hopefully we don't have to worry about that.
Interesting factoid, and this is not to cover up from the fact that I said something completely retarded, but apparently Delaware is, as we just learned, Delaware is in New Jersey, which is definitely not anywhere near Illinois. But Wayne and Garth went there in Wayne's World. Now, this is what's interesting. I remember that. And also, I'm pretty sure, was Wayne and Garth originally from Chicago? Can we fact check this?
Yes.
Because I would love to
How
know
old is
why I
that
thought
movie?
the state of Delaware was anywhere near Illinois or within the Illinois. Aurora, Illinois.
Aurora.
Yeah, Wayne and Garth hail from Chicago suburb of Aurora in Illinois. Anyway,
And they went to Delaware.
They went to Delaware.
We got full circle.
because in my entire life, I've been thinking that Delaware had something to do with Chicago.
Do they ever talk about Bitcoin in the movie?
Well, probably not.
Because that would be incredible.
That would be
foresight.
incredible.
We should make this kind of decentralized electronic coin, like a Bitcoin.
They went to Delaware.
Hi, I'm in Delaware.
And anyway. maybe it's Wayne, maybe it's because of Wayne's World that I thought there was some connection between Illinois and Delaware.
Dig upwards.
Idiot, keep
Dig
digging
upwards,
upwards.
stupid.
Yeah, I stuffed that up. There's more tidbits no, Nick. Polymarkets
go on.
there's Polymarket scandals. Who would have thought in the gambling market people would be trying to scandalize it? Polymarket has fake video scandal going on with apparently 1,100 fake videos showing winners. They're all fake. Creators being paid to make dummy bets. Basically advertising.
Yeah, fake website made it, and then they look, I won, and actually they didn't win anything. They won the payment from Polymarkets, I guess. They got paid. Yeah, it's kind of crappy. I don't know. It's
Lies.
yeah. What do you do from this? You're like, well, Polymarkets was kind of this cool, You know, they're the first guys to do it, bringing crypto to the mainstream. Everyone can bet on what they want, and now it's like they've been faking it.
It's my understanding that all prediction markets are banned in Australia. Is that right?
I believe so. Polymarkets is. I think Kalshi's only made for the US market, I believe. I'm guessing, you know, you can still get there with a VPN or whatever, but theoretically, yeah, you're not supposed to use them. Yeah. And what was there? There was some other Polymarket stuff. So I've seen a couple, and you know, the squeaky wheel gets the oil or whatever. But I've seen a bunch of other people recently complain that they had, I don't know if we spoke about this. They like made bets on Polymarket, and then Polymarket at the last second changed the categorization of how you could win. And they're like, I bet all my money on this like specific outcome and the rules of this outcome, and now this is how you win, and I lost. Oh wow, now I have to give all my money away. Like, it seems totally unfair. Anyway, I'm paraphrasing, and I probably don't have the whole story, but yeah, there's a bunch of this kind of stuff coming out, which is a shame, because I feel like they didn't have to do much to kick a goal, right?
No.
Because they're already making millions of dollars. Just do the right thing.
Keep doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned squeaky wheel, so I am going to use that to make the most outrageous right turn into a segue. Do you know what WD-40 stands for?
Western Digital 40?
Wrong.
I know what the 40 means.
What does it stand
It
for?
was the 40th iteration of a chemical he tried to make.
Correct.
And
Water displacement, 40th attempt.
water displacement.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
So it's this aquaphobic.
Correct. Yes. So
Yeah,
this,
okay.
I learned this just the other day. This is fascinating. Nothing to do with crypto, of course. I'm just completely, hey, look, I'm sitting behind the mic. I'll say whatever I want.
Yeah, it's in the meat space.
There is, during the Cold War, they had a problem with all these particular missiles that were going to get rust because they sat in their silos, and the US government said, hey, there's all these things are just rusting. We kind of need our missiles to be working. So they gave a government grant to a group of dudes, like 3 dudes, and said, boys, come up with a coating that we can put on our missiles. They'll stop them from rusting. All right. And they worked out the particular compound, whatever they did. And what did they hold? On the 40th attempt, they came up with what is now effectively WD-40,
Yeah, right.
which is a coating. But the problem is the serviceable market for missile coating is not particularly large. You know, once you've coated the missiles, it's a bit like, okay, well, what do we do with this thing now?
Yeah, we'll go
But
to
they-
the Soviets. See if they want some.
But given the applications of it, it was kind of like this serendipitous thing where they're like, oh, sweet, now we'll turn it into a product which you could lubricate in a bunch of services.
I'm surprised there wasn't some kind of IP capture there from the US government saying, well, look, you worked on this while working for us, therefore it's our product and you can't sell it. I wonder if there's there must have been some loophole on the contract that they signed that whatever you develop here, as long as it works, you can make a business out of it. Go for it.
Meanwhile, the Soviets are out there using WD-39.
Well, I was going to say, maybe
WD-39
WD-39 was on the US missiles and they were like, well, you can't sell that to the market, so we'll make WD-40.
Yeah, well, maybe.
It definitely rolls off the tongue better.
Wonder if there was a sequel.
But look, and again, I mean, there's probably a chemist, or not a chemical engineer out there who's worked out, well, like technically the coating they use for the missiles is slightly,
Yeah.
maybe there's 2 variations.
Was there a
depending
hybrid
on
of, yeah.
The first 39 were just drugs.
Yeah, guys, we've made another drug. Damn it. Okay.
Hey, there is a guy out there. There's a guy out there, and he is whatever you call him, a psychonaut, or one of these people who's dedicated his life to trying various.
We just
psychoactive
call them
substances.
unemployed.
No, his whole life was spent testing psychoactive substances, because every time someone come up with something or they found something, they're like, well, someone's got to give it a go. He's like, yes, sir, it's my job. And this dude looked and sounded exactly like you would expect a guy who spent the better part of 60 years just taking psychedelics.
Did he go on to act in a show called Seinfeld? His name is Kramer.
No, he was out there. Like this guy.
Yeah.
This guy lived in a hammock. Right?
Lived in a hammock.
He's now the host of Gardening Australia.
Gosh, what's his name? Costa. Yeah, right. So what is he still alive? Like,
I don't know. I
is
saw a
he humming
YouTube
along?
clip with him. He was living in his hammock.
Okay.
Seemed to be having a good time. Still alive. I have no idea what his mental space was like. Whether it was Costa. Yeah. It was- and then he went on to lead a really famous gardening show on the ABC. What can you say? I just made that up. But like he looked like
He
Costa.
looks
but-
happy, at least.
Now imagine Costa, but like, you know, you add on 40 years. The
Yeah,
beard was
right.
pretty grey.
He looks
And the
like
hair
if
was pretty
Hagrid discovered mushrooms.
Yeah. But he seemed to be having a great time. He's for a guy who's just lived in a hammock. Like he was.
Yeah.
Skynet says, imagine someone clicking onto a crypto podcast and all they're hearing about is the history of lubricants and hallucinogenics.
Yeah.
You got to have a detour sometime. Hey, we haven't even got through all our. Oh, Japan. I mean, I did a deep dive onto Japan raising its rates. I don't
I'm
know.
glad
if we
you
have time
did
to
because
go.
I certainly didn't.
Well, Japan has got an interesting monetary, policy history.
It does.
In that they did manipulate the yield curve by effectively keeping rates set artificially at zero for like a very, very long time. And we are seeing, there's big implications for the unwinding of that, where they came in and more or less just went, you know what, no matter how much we have to buy, we will continue to buy so the rates do not ever move. Right? That's what
Okay.
happened.
Yeah. Now what's happening?
Well, now they've gone up to 1%.
Mm.
And we're seeing the unwinding of the Japanese carry trade.
How is that playing out in the market?
What's for assets that previously had liquidity like crypto, anything apart from SpaceX is just less liquidity to go around, really, if you had to summarize it.
Talking about SpaceX, that's been an interesting ride. So launched, officially at $135. I think when they did the crosses on the first day, you could get it at 165. I think was basically the price you pay if you put in a bid on day one. Went all the way up to 220 or so, I'm going to say. Something like that, like 201, was it? Okay, there we go. And then now today we're back down to 154.60. So
Trading like a meme coin.
yeah, it is dumping quicker than most of us expected, I think like most people thought it was going to probably come back down because there's a bunch of like early unlocks. I think we spoke about this last week in the noisy conference setting. You can see a really average Google chart here, which just looks like a little hill, but
Make it a bit larger so we can really see the. It's not full meme coin action. It's not quite as dramatic as we.
I mean, it's not a zero. It's just kind of back. It's a pump and then it's back to where it started, basically. Although theoretically, yeah,
Do you
like
think
you're
that's going to
underwater.
continue?
I mean, as the unlocks happen, it's going to be hard to trade higher. I think in the short term, this is something I think we brought up last week. There's a bunch of stocks. If you look at some major stocks, the first 6 months of trading, they were all underwater. But you zoom out longer and they're all doing fine. Thank you very much. kind
Yeah,
of
like
thing.
Meta and everything. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, even Amazon. We spoke about that, like 100,000% pump or whatever it was. And I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. As it turned out, I was about 10,000% off. It was only like 90,000%.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn. Yeah. So I don't know. Again, not trading advice, but I think SpaceX is, if you're looking for a long-term play, like far out. It's a pretty big moat those guys have got. They've just got this ridiculous valuation at the moment of what, $2.5 trillion or something. So once, if it drops a bit, it could become an interesting asset to look at.
I'm going to be fascinated to see what comes out of them actually delivering. So who's going to be the first SpaceX customer, right? How many people have started?
Right. Corporate customer. Yeah.
Corporate customer
Yeah.
who signs up is like, yeah, send my shit into space.
I mean, NASA is not. Are they not?
Presumably,
They've been a customer for a decade now.
But
or
who's
whatever.
going to be like pumping their stuff up? I guess satellite technology. It's going to be like mostly governments and
Yeah, I mean,
space agencies around the world that'll be their major customers, I presume, to
Yeah,
start off with. But
for sure.
eventually, someone's going to be like, yeah, just okay. Now we're going to do space tourism. So I don't know.
yeah. I mean, that's what
Bookings.com starts
100%.
sending people up there or something. I don't know.
Like Elon has spoken about, retail essentially going to the moon and whatever. I saw a stat recently as well. What's their Starlink? So Starlink, another one of Elon Musk's companies that does internet from space, is something like, I don't know, was it 60% or 80% or something of the moving satellites in space are Starlink. Like,
No way.
it's just the penetration this guy has up in space is ridiculous. And of course, SpaceX are the guys putting it up there.
Yeah.
So it's just like he's created these two companies that one can service the other one. And it's incredibly, incredibly popular and successful. Like Starlink is so, like there's just no competition. You can't beat Starlink. So yeah, he's doing it very
Doing
well.
well. And
Yeah.
it's not like you can just pop up and just imitate.
No, the
SpaceX.
moat is so
This
big.
moat is huge.
Yeah. Anyway, again, we sound like we're, being paid to like paid ad for SpaceX. We're absolutely not. But it just, it's wild.
Jared called it
valuations.
Ponzi. Come on, we've had some balance here.
Hey, if you shorted it, like, Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna go there.
Look, we're not completely above doing paid advertisements. If anyone wants it, we have had some requests, but if you start seeing us do NordVPN and better health, mental health
Yeah,
services,
we need it. We need that canary, right? So like all the other topics we've spoken about, been very clear. Like this is not I'm just talking out my ass here. But the second I say something, you're like, hang on, that sounds. Are you shilling something? And I don't say I'm talking out my ass. Yeah, that's the canary. The canary is tweeting. Watch out. Yeah.
What other bits and bobs did you want to cover up? Nick? 'Cause
Well, we can talk. I don't know if you want to talk about Eth Labs, so the Ethereum
let's definitely
Foundation.
talk about that.
So just quickly, we've been going for like an hour and 15 minutes now. It's a long one. So Eth Labs have kind of formed this. There's this company or organization. I'll say it's a non-profit, where a bunch of the Ethereum Foundation people have sort of peeled off and created this thing. The Ethereum Foundation we spoke about a few months ago, or a couple months ago maybe, they kind of narrowed their focus recently. So they've sort of said, look, we're not going to try and do everything now. Now we're going to really try and look after the core principles and the core protocols of Ethereum. So they came out with this crops analogy, and I actually can't remember what any of the letters stand for except for S, which is security. But the idea is, they want to look after the major things. Yeah, quickly look it up for me so I can. Crops. CROPS. Crops.
Let's just
That's
sit here
not
in
Eth
awkward
Labs,
silence
but
until
anyway.
we.
Come on. It's not Eth Labs. It was Ethereum Foundation. No. Oh, was that it? Oh, there we go. So censorship resistance, open source values, privacy, and security. So those are the sort of the four pillars that they want to focus on now, instead of trying to do a bunch of other research and development stuff. They feel like the core, like Ethereum technology seems to be doing pretty well. Now they want to just make sure that it stays the core principles are adhered to. A few of these Ethereum Foundation guys have peeled. I think there's 6 of them have formed this new company, or this new organization, called Eth Labs. And Eth Labs, Eth Labs appears to be getting marketed as the number go up technology company. So finally, we've got this entity in the market that's actually going to see what it can do about the Ethereum price. Its sort of core function is to accelerate the usage of ETH basically in the market and get everyone excited and do some sort of more aggressive things, I think.
Yeah. So like a community kind of leader, like people who are going to what do you call it, like a accelerator for like devs and people who want to build on it, to give grants and
that's right. So
you know what I mean, like to get people interested in doing stuff to make
and I think that's fair. It's great. So there was a bit of worry, I think, that a lot of people were quitting the Ethereum Foundation, and it was narrowing its focus, and so maybe there was just not as much scope to have as many people working in it. But I'm kind of glad that a lot of these guys have now come and stayed in the ETH industry and ecosystem and formed this new organization that just has a slightly different sort of
way of doing stuff,
idea of what it needs to achieve. But talking about devs, that's a good segue. So something else mentioned in this paragraph is about how there's an old Ethereum Foundation guy called, Peter Van Naps or something. I'm totally butchering that.
Oh, sorry, I'll come back to it.
And he has said he's worried that the Ethereum Foundation has now torpedoed this grant, this sort of ongoing grant that used to happen to the client. It's like a client incentive program. So all the different Ethereum clients out there kind of got this money to keep building what they were building. And I looked into that one a bit more, and it's not as bad as it seems. So the Ethereum Foundation themselves have a whole bunch of Ethereum a bunch of Ether that they stake and earn a bunch of money from. A lot of that money went to this incentive program, which won't exist anymore. That's not to say that the Ethereum Foundation won't continue to sort of provide grants and whatever to these client builders, but it's just not this steady stream of income that's happening anymore. This guy, Peter, whatever his name is, I think his name is Peter. I'm really drawing a blank here. He was kind of, I feel like he was, clutching his pearls a bit too tightly. And it wasn't quite as bad as it seemed, but yeah, anyway, that was, so what do we have from,
Skynet has commented, Eth Labs is funded by the DATs, Bitmine and SharpLink. So its funds come from the staking yield.
Yeah. So more staking yield. Yeah, there's a I know Bitmine, Sharplink,
different
Joe
commercial
Lubin
interest.
is also behind this thing as well.
Mhm.
I think it seems to be well funded. We'll just have to see what it can achieve, if anything. So proof will be in the pudding. Hopefully these guys can kick some goals and accelerate, Ethereum usage, which is the right timing, I think, because Ethereum right now has got a lot of, it's fast, it's cheap, it's had a lot of work done for scalability. Now we just need the masses to come. They've built it. Now, how do we get them to come? Well, you make up some kind of organization like Eth Labs and get them involved and see what they can do.
Not to be an actually, but do you know the expression that people always say the proof is in the pudding?
Mm.
The proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Oh, I think you've told me this one before.
Just,
The
you know,
proof of the pudding
is
is in the eating. Yeah, okay.
People
So
say
once
it's
you
in-
eat the pudding, you'll have the proof whether it's good or not, I suppose.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. Fair play.
It's not. It's the eating of it.
I'm still guarantee I'm still going to use that one wrong. I don't think this is going to change that's just deep set now,
I
the
know.
proof is in the pudding.
And as long as people still understand what you mean, so the meaning hasn't actually changed, even if the quote has.
I love those idioms that people like cut off halfway through and then they lose all the point. Now, my favorite one is the customer is always right. So the actual full saying is the customer is always right in matters of taste. So if they say they like it, well, you're right. It's not to say that they're right and just to
In every single situation.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I remember when I was like early 20s, I'd bought some phone case for my Nokia 3310 or whatever it was, 3210 I think I had. And it had this little thing over the button cover, like a little cover over the buttons, and something went wrong with the thing. And I think I'd only just bought it, literally 10 minutes before. I went back to the shops and it was at Paddy's Markets or something. And I'm like, mate, this thing's immediately doesn't work. The clip's broken. I haven't even used it. And the guy's like, mate, you bought it. It's too late. You can't just bring this thing back. And I probably spent $4 on this thing. It would have been super cheap plastic crap. And I'm like, and I remember saying to him, but hang on, sir, doing the little, about to cry, eyes welling with tears, but isn't the customer always right? And he just looks at me, he's like,
matters of taste.
no, he didn't. No, he looks at me and he goes, mate, buyers are liars. And I was like, he's got a better saying than me.
Damn it.
And I was like, dang. And then I walked away empty handed. I'm like, how can you come back from that?
You're like, man,
I
that's
was the
saying
buyer.
way
And
better than mine.
You got me
True,
good.
I'm a liar.
Yeah. I wasn't though. This
No,
piece
that's
of
not what the
crap.
quote says.
Yeah.
No. Well, you know
plastic
what?
piece of
When
crap.
Bitcoin hits 40 odd K, because that's where your model predicts, Nick,
Yeah.
we can easily reinvent ourselves as a history of idioms show.
Okay.
Right? And we can just talk about idioms and where they come from.
Yep. How about axioms? You reckon we can throw some of those in?
Absolutely.
we
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
turn up to our exchange and go, when I bought it, it was 170,000.
Exactly. Well, the next time there's a complaint, you know what we're going to say.
Lies are lies.
Man. Fine.
Yeah, that rhymes.
Yeah, it rhymes.
I'll back
completely
off. You reckon AFCA would take that?
Yeah, probably.
AFCA buys are lies, right? I'm like, ooh.
Damn, that rhymes well.
Yeah.
I don't
Case
think
closed. Sustained. What? We're in a court? Yeah. Okay.
What are the bits and pieces do we have to cover? Man,
I think we've gone through everything I want to talk about. Although there's some Russell 2000 stuff. that's
Russell
kind of
2000
interesting.
stuff. Bybit was added to the MAS investor alert list in Singapore.
We've another bullish, semi sort of reverse bullish.
Was it bullish or reverse bullish?
It's reverse bullish because we've had the highest number of ETF outflows in the last 30 days. Something
All right,
2 point
baby.
something. No, I don't know. There's a big number, 1 point something billion maybe.
Hmm.
It's a big number. But the bullish part is we're still stuck in this 60 to 65K channel.
Yeah, there we
Like,
go.
hang on, there's a lot of either people aren't actually selling, they're just moving it from the ETF to some other vehicle, or the selling's just being absorbed probably by Saylor, and we just cannot go lower. Like, it's impossible to go lower. There's some rule that's been put in place.
Devs have
Can't go down.
disallowed it.
Yes. Talking about the devs, who was it? Damn. A funny thing. Oh, I lost it. Sorry. There was something where one of the STRC thing. So Fung Lei, the CEO of
Fung Lei.
Fung Lei. So he bought $1 million of STRC, And people are like, "Oh, the devs trying to fix the price here. Like, stop it, dude." I thought that was funny. Anyway, I think we're done.
I don't know, but that's a pretty strong signal. If you're going to put $1 million in and just go, I'm going to collect a sweet yield, and eventually this thing probably gets back to parity.
Yeah.
Because it's not really pegging; it's the wrong thing. It's more like face value.
Yeah, it's like the Kobe buy wall. Do you remember that? It's like some crypto law from like 1,000 years ago. Kobe, crypto Kobe is like this classic guy in
that's right. I remember that guy.
in
Whatever
Twitter
happened to him?
sphere.
He was one of your mates, wasn't
Yeah, he's still around. He's still around. He's not as vocal anymore because there was something. Anyway, we can talk about that later. But back in the day, he created this. Well, the law says that, and I'm not talking about LAW. I'm talking about LORE law. He created this buy wall at $300 when Bitcoin was. It had crashed from something like $800, and it was down to like 300. And he created this buy wall on a single exchange, and then wrote this long tweet about my father, our fathers and forefathers will look back on this day. You were like, it was really inspiring. This inspiring tweet about. You shall not pass kind of thing. And I'll create this and we'll remember this day for the rest of our lives, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, as far as my memory is, it essentially worked because there was this character called Bear Whale, and no one knows who Bear Whale was, but Bear Whale was just selling forever. They had a shitload of Bitcoin and they were like, that's it, I'm out. This thing's never going anywhere. And this is back when the price was like, hundreds of dollars. And Kobe sets up this buy wall at $300 and he's like, I've got to keep this thing going. And it was just epic. Like this one guy basically saved the whole market. Anyway, I'm not sure if there's much truth in any of it. And I'm guessing a whole bunch of people got on board on this $300 buy wall because, he was just very vocal and he was super popular back in the day. Had like hundreds of thousands of followers, I guess.
Is he still selling for that price? Or?
No, he was buying. Oh, Bear Wall. Yeah, Bear Whale's long gone. Yeah. There's some great memes about that.
Got wrecked.
Anyway, I think that's enough for this week.
That's enough for this week.
I need to go and do some work.
Again, at the start of this, there's not much to talk about. An hour and 20 minutes later, or an hour and a half later.
Nick came in hot. He said, we're ready to talk. And Lee's probably going to faint at some point. So,
Yes.
I'll have the microphone all myself.
All right, who wants to talk about quantum?
We'll be back next week, won't we, Jared?
Yes, we will.
Yes.
All right.
Same place, same time. We're going to have new chairs for the crowd.
It's
my
a
back.
work in progress.
Can we get some of those big lazy boys so Nick and I can face each other instead of like looking at each other like...
We've already got two lazy boys there.
Idiom? No, I've got none. Anyway, I'm going to be back. I'm going to think of some idioms tomorrow. And I'm going to tell people where they came from. So stay tuned for some possibly interesting
great
fucking
programming.
segues.
Cool.
All right. Next week, same time, same place, different chairs. Hopefully, Jared.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Lee and Nick with the Moonshot